Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie. I don't know if you can see me. We're new at this, so you're just going to have to deal with it. But anyway, I'm Debbie. So here I am. And this cute little one is Teri. And oh, God, everything's popping up on my screen. Okay. And I'm just going to do a little interview, very nonchalant, of Teri so that you guys can learn a little bit about her. She did our very first week of moderating on Whole30. And so she really did all the housekeeping and nobody really knew about Teri. So I want you guys to learn about my friend. She's very sweet and wonderful. I met her for the first time at the summit last year, and we are going to be roomies again this year, which I'm very excited about. We just booked our trip. So I want you guys to get to know my friend. So here we go. All right, Miss Teri. Tell us about your life before Whole30, how you arrived, well, let's just say to it.
Okay. I have an autoimmune disorder. I have Hashimoto's, which, you know, so many of us do in our age bracket and our gender. And it was discovered probably more than 15 years ago now, but that was really kind of the dark ages. There may have been paleo going on, but it certainly wasn't anything I had heard of. And my doctors were pretty much, well, we'll give you some radioactive iodine, kill your thyroid, and put you on thyroid, and it's fine. There's nothing else to be done. And I couldn't accept it then. I can't accept it now. It just kept being in my head. It got broken. It can get fixed. And I thought, maybe they don't know, but I'm going to keep researching until I figure it out. And so I tried everything. I read.
How long after you were, how many years did you go undiagnosed, do you think?
Probably a very long time. I had chronic daily hives for years when I was diagnosed. So, and that's not unusual Hashimoto's symptom.
Right.
So I'd say it had been coming on for years.
Okay.
Likely, but I didn't feel terrible by any means. And I know that's the way a lot of people come into it.
Right.
I had just finally gone to the doctor because I was just like, okay, I've had these hives for years and years and years. Let's examine it. And then that's when it was uncovered that it was actually a thyroid issue. Okay.
Well, that's good that you know, like I had Hashimoto's, but I went probably to four that I can remember, functional doctors, and
functional doctors
that did labs, did everything, and still didn't get it.
Wow.
And I knew something was wrong. And you know, at some point you start thinking, you know, I'm not a person that cries, but you know, I broke down in the doctor's office and was like, okay, this is not right. But finally I did find somebody to diagnose me. But actually Russ, that we're going to talk to, that you and I are going to talk to, did. But okay, so you got the diagnosis, and then how long did it take you to really find?
Well, you know, I tried different things. I went on Synthroid, still am on it. But I was a vegan for a while. I was a vegetarian for a while. I tried this, I tried that. I tried taking iodine. I tried not taking iodine, you know, just everything. But then whenever paleo started becoming a more popular thing, you know, that's when it was like, oh, and then I heard about the autoimmune protocol, and I went on that for probably a year, followed that, and
that's hard.
It's hard. I mean, it's like, you know, Whole30 on steroids, you know, it's just like no nuts, no coffee, no nightshades. Yeah. And truthfully, I didn't see a lot of difference. And then I found a functional medicine doctor, and that is kind of when the hives started going down. I still get them, but so much less, and I feel good. So yeah. But how I got to go ahead.
No, you answer the question. How you got to Whole30?
How I got to Whole30 was both my brother and sister separately ask me for an eating plan. They're like, what are we supposed to eat? What are we not supposed to eat? Like, what's the deal? And so I started saying, well, don't eat this, don't eat this, do eat this, do eat this. And then I thought, somebody has to have already made a really cool, fun plan to teach people this. And lo and behold, Melissa Hartwig made a really fun, cool plan to teach people this. So I had just been Googling around and found it. And it was like, oh my God, this is perfect. This is everything anybody needs to know to change their diet and life.
Right.
So
and so you knew that was it. And it just innately came to you that, here, do this.
Yeah, and so I led my first group with my brother and my sister, who each have yet to finish a Whole30, but that's all right. But a bunch of friends and family jumped on, and that was probably 3 years ago. And
Awesome.
I don't know, had about 20 people in that first group. And, I had never done a Whole30 myself. So, we jumped in there and did a Whole30 together, and it was super fun. And then it just kept, other people said, well, I want to do that.
That's great. That's great. Well, tell me about your first Whole30 experience. I know that it probably wasn't that big of a switch for you. Well, it probably was easy considering you did autoimmune paleo, which is even more. So it wasn't a big deal, right?
Anything feels easier after autoimmune protocol.
Yeah.
But it was fun. And I mean, it was good because I did still have quite a sweet tooth. Well, still have quite a sweet tooth. Sure. And I would eat, a we generally always have paleo baked goods in the house, healthy, almond flour, lovely, nutrient dense. But doing the Whole30 saw how much of my plate was filled with those lovely things instead of vegetables. And that was hugely eye-opening. And I think the biggest values of Whole30.
Well, you and I have not discussed this before, but you'll appreciate, I decided I was going to go paleo, and it was a January, and I was going paleo. And I found Mel Juwan's book, and at the time when you Googled paleo, there really wasn't much. It was Lauren Cordain, because this was 2010, I think it was. And it was Lauren Cordain, Rob Wolf, and Melissa Juwan. And so I had her book, and thank God I got her book. But then it was a bunch of almond flour cakes. And I made this big old almond flour cake, and I ate that for at every meal because it was paleo. Yeah, it was paleo. Right. And then later figured out that maybe that wasn't the best choice. But yeah, I can feel you on the almond flour cakes, because I did it and I was like, this is not really that good, but it's better than eating Brussels sprouts. I mended my ways, but still, I can. Yeah, you could still eat paleo and eat junk food. Autoimmune paleo, you can eat a bunch of junk food.
You sure can. There are books of autoimmune paleo desserts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's a lot of that.
Really, I think the meal template is something. I mean, that's what I go back to when I'm, when I'm living my food freedom. It's like, what's my plate look like? Is it for me? I always tell my folks 3/4 vegetables. It's like 2/3, but pile them on. And when I eat all those, I feel good. And when I don't eat all those, I don't feel as good.
You feel better when you eat more veggies,
Yeah.
The vegans are onto a little something with that. I'm not going to go there, but if you can have 3/4 of your plate, I tell everybody, pile up your plate with veggies, then, put the palm size and then have your fat. And if you can eat all that, then you were hungry.
Yes. But, and that's pretty much my template, 3 meals a day, day in, day out. And not that I don't have some of those paleo baked goods, on around or.
Yeah. They're not a regular occurrence.
It's not. Yeah, and they don't crowd out the nutrient-dense foods that we really, really need.
Now, what a bunch of people probably don't know is that my connection's a little unstable, so bear with me here.
That being in Mexico, Debbie.
It's hard being in Mexico. I'm in bed doing this. Okay, that's what I'm doing. It's that how many people did you have in the junior league group?
Yeah, last September I did a group for the women at the junior league in Kansas City where I work, and we were 60. Yeah,
60 people you put through that.
But I divided them into 3 groups of 20 because I wanted them to be able to make connections with each other.
Right. Yeah, which was, I mean, I saw that you were doing that, and I was like, oh, God, love her.
It was a lot. It was
or
a lot.
down here in the South, bless her heart, is what we would say, because that was really, really a big thing. But I mean, to be able to introduce 60 people in one fell swoop to that is huge. And you know, those people are their families that are taking them back to their kids and so on and so forth. So that was huge. So
fun
yeah,
so many of the members that did that from the junior league were very young, you know, 20s and 30s, and most typically my groups are people closer to my own age, you know, usually a range, but more in that 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, group. So it's fun to work with the younger ladies, and I was just like, had I had this when I was
right?
It would be my health would be different, my life would be different. It just, so I was happy for them that they get to know these things early. And the ones that are raising children, hopefully they aren't going to be the kids with the baggie of goldfish crackers all the time.
Oh my God, those goldfish.
Food.
Don't get me started with those goldfish.
I know. And then January, I did a group of just, you know, mixed group of people, and it was 55 people. And I just decided I'm going to try keeping it all in one group and see what happens. And I won't do that again. I just think the experience for people wasn't as fun. It ends up being a few people talk all the time, and, you know, 40% of them, you never hear things. So
yeah. You've got the stalkers, and you've got the So yeah, I get it. But anyway,
stalkers and talkers.
The stalkers and the talkers, I was going to ask you, okay, so what do you find to be the biggest sticking point for the majority of your Whole30 clients? I know everybody's a little different and everybody's a unique snowflake. What is this thing that you see continuously?
Well, you know, you have your batches of people, and you've got your yo-yo crew, you know, that's like, I'm on or I'm off. And I, you know, constantly working on that. It's like, you know, and I have an alumni group that anybody that goes through and completes a successful Whole30 can join. And we're working through Food Freedom together, the book, you know, and because it's like, ladies, you don't need to do 12 rounds of Whole30. You just, you know, take the training wheels off, you know, as Melissa says, or someone says.
Somebody said it.
That group. And then there's I think I see a lot of people that maybe only focus on the food and don't realize, first step, you know, you need to go to sleep at night. You need to move. And that's my personal hardest part, is the exercise piece. I do it, but I don't love it, and never did. So, you know, so I think the yo-yo and those that have a hard time moving it into the rest of their life. This is a piece, not the whole thing. You gotta take care of the whole package there.
Yeah, why am I not getting any NSVs? Well, sweetie, you're only sleeping for 4 hours a night. So that's going to stall anything, or, you know, something to that effect. So
exactly. Yeah.
And we have quite a few people in our Fabulous After 50 group, which, you know, they're on round 9, day 13. And I talked to somebody today. I don't know who it was, but I don't remember it. Not that I don't know who, but I talked to a lot of people today. And I said, I think instead of, you know, round 3, you know, day 12, maybe you're just in your food freedom and that's what you're doing. Instead of making it, you know, Whole30 is your food freedom, and you add things in as you find necessary. So I think I was going to talk with you guys and see if we want to, maybe anybody that does around 10, you know, day 3, we just say, you know, let's get rid of that, because you know, it's a little badge of honor that I don't know should necessarily be there.
Exactly. It's like, yeah. And kind of I eat Whole30 almost all the time. It's like, well, are you following a paleo lifestyle? Let's we're a subset. Let's move into the larger community that we're in here.
Right. Yeah. Well, like you're a really good because you're paleo. Now you don't eat gluten ever, right?
Right.
What about dairy? Do you eat dairy ever?
No, I don't ever eat dairy.
Okay.
Don't ever eat gluten. Pretty much avoid refined sugar. I'll do honey or maple syrup.
Right.
And I avoid soy vastly. We may go to a Thai restaurant and I don't ask if there's soy in the sauce, but that's, a couple times a year.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you're following pretty close to the Whole30 template, but that's your food freedom.
Right.
Right.
I'd say we're definite, once a month Mexican food kind of folks, and then it's beans and chips and corn tortillas, the whole.
I don't really want to talk about that while I'm in Mexico. Okay.
Eat up. I said eat up.
Don't want to discuss that. But yeah. So, but I mean, therein lies the difference between round 10 and food freedom. That's your personal food freedom.
Exactly.
You're not Whole365. You're just, this is Teri.
Right.
And this is how Teri eats. So,
and there's, like if I do a round, and I've been tending to do one once a year, just so I don't forget what my groups are experiencing. Right. I just want to okay, that was actually hard. But when I get to reintroduction, there's not a chance gluten is going in my mouth. I mean, I already have an autoimmune disease, and I know that makes holes in our gut lining, and it's just not worth it to me. No. It's also a happy abstainer. I not a moderator kind of gal. So it's 1,000 times easier to not have a piece of bread for me than it is, to have a bite.
To have a little bit. Yeah. And that's a huge, that having had that education from Melissa about the abstainers and the moderators. Was it Melissa or she got it from somewhere, I think?
Gretchen Rubin.
From Gretchen Rubin, that's right. And I mean, she has a new book out that came out today, I think, by the way. We'll have to get,
Yes.
But that's huge, because once you understand that about yourself, you can quit feeling guilty about, I ate the whole bag of chips. Well, of course you did, because you're not a moderator.
Exactly.
When
I do eat the whole bag of plantain chips, it's kind of, I really work on the self-talk about that. It's just kind of like, rather than, oh my God, no wonder you're carrying extra weight, blah, blah, blah. No, it's more like, I'm really glad you're somebody who enjoys life so much. I mean, and just let her go. We have so many messages of shame as probably all women, but American women particularly. And it's like, stop.
Well, and while I've got you on that, why don't you talk about good and bad foods?
What I do with my groups is something that I discovered early on, and I don't know why it works in my crazy brain, but it does. Like, say I'm standing at the coffee shop and there's this tray of gorgeous baked goods. One day I just looked at it and I just said, that's not food. And for whatever reason, in my head, it worked. And it it didn't even appeal to me anymore. And I use it all the time. And I tell my groups,
that's really good.
Try it. It might work for you. And so rather than, it's kind of, for me, it's not good foods and bad foods. It's foods and not foods. And
I love it.
A pile of sugary wheat flour things, it's not food. And for me, it isn't food because it hurts me. That doesn't mean that it's not food for somebody else.
Right. But for you personally,
Yeah. So I try, yeah, I guess that's where I am. Not good and bad. It's just either it's food or it isn't food. It's either feeding you and nurturing you and creating health, or it isn't.
Right.
So,
And with your situation, which is the same as mine with Hashimoto's,
yeah.
you know, you're either making yourself feel better or you're making yourself sicker. You know, there's no wiggle room with what we have.
Right.
You know, so you make that choice when you decide, you know.
Yeah. And I'm not, I mean, I don't eat probably the, correct portion sizes at any given time, or drink 2 bottles of kombucha, go crazy, whatever, it's not like I'm making the most 100% perfect healthful choice every time something goes into my mouth. It's like, wow, those are some pretty amazing coconut flour brownies. I think I'm going to have 4. It's like, maybe I won't bake them for a while.
Right. But you and I both know that when we reach for the plantain chips, as we reach for them, we both know that there's a pretty good chance that we're going to eat the whole entire thing because that's who we are.
Yes.
And if that's not a good choice for me right then and there, I don't reach for them because I know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And that's a conscious choice.
Yes.
That's not me not knowing what I'm doing. That's not me feeling horrible the day after and saying, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I knew what I was grabbing. I told myself, I'm grabbing these, eating them, I'm enjoying them, and then I'm done with the whole thought process about the plantain. You know what I mean? So, if you can, what I tell my clients is if you've made a conscious decision, you're an adult. You made that decision.
Right.
Why would you feel guilty about it? Because you knew exactly what would happen. You knew what would happen the next day, how you would feel. Then why would you feel guilty about something that you were like, yeah, that was awesome?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I like, to think about too. I think, like, I had a lot of clients say, I just can't stand being told I can't have something. And it's sort of like, I like to say, who is the adult in your room? I mean, nobody's telling you can't have it. You're the only grown up standing there. It's
right.
Yeah.
That's a good, and those are the moderators, of course.
Exactly.
But but I mean, that is very true. You're the only one keeping you from that. So that's true. I like it a lot. I like it a very lot. A very lot. All right, sweetie. Well, should we wrap it up with that? Because you have some pearls of wisdom going there for sure.
This was
we'll end on a high note.
Yes, end on a high note.
All right, darling. Well, I cannot wait to room with you, and hopefully,
so much fun.
Yes, hopefully this was our first.
Out there in the group that are thinking about becoming Whole30 coaches, start studying because the annual coaches summit is as fun as it gets.
Oh yeah. Talk about being overstimulated. Oh my God. It's when all of your people are in one room and you're just like, it's like meeting all of your favorite rock stars at once. But anyway, all right, sweetie, well, have a very good evening, and I'm going to try to do this without canceling everything. All right, darling. See you later.
Bye, honey.